Oh man, it's good to be back here on YouTube, back on the history of professional wrestling. Even though I promised this like 2 weeks ago, but hey, when your phone breaks, your phone breaks. Hello, folks. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the History of Professional Wrestling. It is me, your host, Joe Monroe, and I do want to go ahead and apologize to you all for the delay. We had a lot of technical difficulties, plus, honestly, it's just been hectic recently with the Hall of Fame coming up and my actual job, and no excuses needed. I apologize, but we are here finally to talk about the one, the only, the first lady of professional wrestling, Miss Elizabeth. But before we get into the video, let me go ahead and shout out a few friends of mine that I work with. I want to give a big shout out to the Wrestling Society Network. If you're a wrestling fan and you're looking for an app that's 100% absolutely free, you need to check out the WSN app. It was built by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. It is on Apple, it is on Roku, it is on Amazon. You can find it anywhere. And if you can't find the app, you can always check them out on thewrestlingsociety.com. I'll have the link in the description below. And I also urge you to go check out all their social media outlets where you can find podcasts like Into the Ropes with Brock Spoder, Bear's Thoughts with Professor Bear, and the No Sell Roundtable with, hey, me and the Wizard CZ. So go check it out. Let's go ahead and let's get back into the video. Born November 1960, Elizabeth Hulett, I believe I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please correct me, was born in Frankfort, Kentucky. She graduated from Franklin County High School, went on to the University of Kentucky, which there in Lexington, Kentucky, which if you live under a rock, that's where University of Kentucky is located at, she met Macho Man Randy Savage, a.k.a. Randy Poffo. And for there, she worked for ICW, the International Championship Wrestling Alliance, for 2 years, from 1983 to 1985, as the TV interviewer and kind of sort of the anchor there. She wasn't really a manager yet. That didn't come along until 1985. Now, in 1985, there was this big, huge debate on who the Macho Man Randy Savage's manager was going to be. At this time, Randy Savage was new to WWF, was a fast rising star, and he was, without a doubt, in my mind, one of the top heels at the time. But he didn't have a manager. So you see, back then, this is why management is kind of a lost art, except for people like MVP and Paul Heyman. They kind of get it. But back then, most heels had managers to help them out during their matches. And Macho Man Randy Savage was number one on every manager's list at the time. However, I want to point out that every manager at this point in time in the WWF was a man. So whenever he announced Miss Elizabeth as his manager in 1985, it was 1985. I'm sorry, July 30th, 1985, to be exact, people were shocked. Because you have this man who's very controlling, but then you have like the sweet, innocent girl next door manager and Miss Elizabeth. And, you know, she was probably, how can I say this? Kind of like a Beauty and the Beast situation, if you think about it. You know, you have Randy Savage, the guy who talked like this. Yeah, that's a terrible impersonation. I'm sorry. But, you know, he talked like that. He was brawny. He was controlling. He didn't look like someone you want to mess with. Even though this is the same man that when he was in Lexington would steal steaks at Kroger and do a promo on it. Poor Randy. But in turn, on the flip side, you have Miss Elizabeth. Again, sweet, innocent looking, really nice. And you're wondering, why the heck is he with this guy? It's kind of like that high school crush going out with the bully jock in high school. You know what I'm talking about? That's kind of how the relationship between them was, to me. If it wasn't to you, let me know in the comments, but that's how it was to me. She would go on to see him win the Intercontinental Championship. Had a feud with George the Animal Steele because George the Animal Steele was absolutely in love with Miss Elizabeth. And to be completely honest with you, who blames the guy? She was a beautiful woman. Then she was there for the infamous WrestleMania 3 with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And to be there at ringside. Later on in the video, I got to show you something that's actually on display at the Capital City Museum. You guys are going to freak out. But from there, she would move on to manage Randy Savage until 1988. This is when the Mega Powers were born. And thanks to Miss Elizabeth, that storyline got built up even more. I seen lust in your eyes, Hogan, yeah. Sorry, I know it's a terrible impersonation, but I can't help myself. From then on, we had the infamous story with the Mega Powers, Miss Elizabeth managing both Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, until that feud came about when Elizabeth got knocked off the apron, and then Hulk Hogan took her to the back and left Macho Man high and dry. And if you want my honest opinion, I know a lot of people in this standpoint, Macho Man was supposed to be the bad guy. I say the heck with that. Hulk Hogan was the heel in this situation. I will die on that heel. But, you know, that's hearsay. Whatever. And, you know, from then on, they had that WrestleMania match, and she had a rivalry with Randy Savage, kind of, sort of, throughout 89 and 90, because this was the Macho King, and he had the Queen Sensational Sherry with him. And until WrestleMania in March 1991, they kind of had that big reunion because Randy ended up losing his match, and Sherry just started slapping the crap out of him, and Elizabeth's in the crowd. So she hops the barricade, goes out, confronts Sherry, slaps the crap out of her, and then you have the big reunion with Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man Randy Savage, which honestly brought a tear to everybody's eye because it has been 2 years since we've seen them together. Soap opera at its best, folks. That's all I got to say. Then from then on, we had that infamous wedding. The wedding, honestly, this is the only time a wedding went well in the World Wrestling Federation / WWE. Everything after that ended up getting crashed some way, shape, or form. But in the reception, that's when Jake the Snake, left them a little present with with the Cobra in the box, and it scared the crap out of him. And he ended up attacking Randy Savage. Then we get the infamous Jake the Snake Roberts versus Macho Man Randy Savage feud. I may have to cover that in a future video. I don't want to go too much detail in it, but we all seen this image right here, right? Yeah? Yeah, okay. We're good. Poor Randy. Then in early 92, they started a feud with Ric Flair, where Flair bragged about dating Miss Elizabeth at one point in time, which led to the WrestleMania 8 main event, in which Savage ended up pinning Flair to win the WWF title. And Flair angrily had cornered Elizabeth, forcefully began to kiss her. Hey, this is starting to sound like a trend here, Flair. And Elizabeth slapped Flair away, and Savage began beating Flair again. You know, that right there, again, soap opera at its best. Them two together, I know, like I said, it's the know-it-all bully jock with the girl you had a crush on in high school, but you got to admit, the chemistry between these two, 100% golden. Then after that, Elizabeth retired from wrestling not too long, for a few years, until she popped back up in WCW. In WCW in 1996, Miss Elizabeth returned to wrestling as a manager for Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan at Clash of the Champions. But just 3 weeks later, she turned on Randy Savage by helping Ric Flair, his old rival, at Super Brawl, therefore becoming Flair's co-manager for the Four Horsemen at the time. Which, honestly, if you think, looking back at the history, kind of genius, especially since the last well-known match was at Mania against Flair. Not too bad. Then she went on to manage Randy and other people of the New World Order between 96 and 99. And then after that, she started managing Lex Luger between 99 and 2000. And actually, during this time is when Miss Elizabeth first got into the ring with Daphne, out of all people. God, I miss Daphne. I'm going to do an episode on her, too. But the reason she was feuding with Daphne was because of the New Blood storyline. And not too long after, August 17th, 2000 is when her WCW contract expired. And this would be the last time that we've seen Miss Elizabeth on national television. But she would also later on would make tours in Europe in November and December '92 alongside with Luger. Then unfortunately, shortly thereafter that was her untimely passing. Now, if you ask me, what does Miss Elizabeth bring to the table when it comes to professional wrestling? I mean, come on. She was the first lady of professional wrestling. A lot of people want to argue Mildred Burke, which, you know, I have to kind of agree. I can agree with that argument as a wrestler. But someone who was a manager, come on. Miss Elizabeth is 100% the first lady of wrestling in that aspect. And not only that, I'm proud to say she's a Kentuckian. And that makes me happy. Heck, when I took my family, especially my daughter, she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that this woman was on national television. And I'm quoting my daughter here. Hey, Daddy, she looks like one of my Barbies that I have. Oh, wait, I do have that Barbie. She's meaning the Elite action figure I got her. But Elizabeth still holds such importance in the sport of professional wrestling till this day. And that right there speaks high praise. Honestly, I think it's a crime that she's not in the WWE Hall of Fame. Maybe it was because of her untimely death and the reasonings around it. If that's the case, then why the heck did Lex Luger get in the Hall of Fame? No offense to Lex. I know he's changed his life around. But now's the time. We need Elizabeth in the WWE Hall of Fame. I may start a trend, hashtag Miss Elizabeth WWE Hall of Fame. If we can spam that, that would be great. Just this year, at the Capital City Museum in Frankfort, Kentucky, in her own hometown, there has been a big exhibit put on display. I'm going to go ahead and show some pictures right here. And as you can see, this was absolutely freaking amazing. I had a great time. My wife, my son, especially my daughter had a great time. But one thing I want to point out is right here, the necklace that she wore at WrestleMania 3. And that was especially cool because I went the week of before WrestleMania. I thought that was extremely cool. But if you haven't checked it out, you need to take a trip to Frankfort, Kentucky at the Capital City Museum. Go check that out because it is 100% worth it. She has a whole room dedicated to herself. And also they have a lot of neat stuff about the history of Kentucky too. But until next time, we will be back next week. I'm going to start doing these weekly. That way I can keep track of them. And we will see you then. Again, don't forget to check out the Wrestling Society Network. A link is in the description. If you want to support the channel, I will have the link to our Redbubble account right there so you can go buy some merch. If you love and enjoy professional wrestling, keep on supporting it. But if you're going to be a troll and a bit of an idiot about it, shut up and enjoy professional wrestling. We are out. Elizabeth is probably one of the most underrated Kentuckians ever. Her and Dale TNT Man. I'm just saying.